Hola chicos, vamos a repasar las preposiciones de lugar. Por ejemplo, en Nassau, el Hotel Hilton está. Pay attention to está. When it's a verb, it carries the accent en la A. ¿Ok? El Hotel Hilton está. Y aquí vamos a tener un espacio. McDonald's. Now, if you know the city of Nassau, you would know that your answer is el Hotel Hilton está cerca de McDonald's. Because it's in close proximity. Okay? Now, vamos a buscar otro ejemplo con lejos de. El otro ejemplo, vamos a utilizar el Hotel Hilton. Y vamos a decir que está. Vamos a usar otro hotel. Ponemos el espacio. Y vamos a usar Baja Mar. If you know the city of Nassau or the island of New Providence, however you want to call it in that case, you will know that your answer is el Hotel Hilton está lejos de Bahamas. El restaurante Poseidon's Table está blank Atlantis. Ahora, sabemos que la respuesta es dentro de, pero como aquí es el Hotel Atlantis, ¿sí? We're going to omit the word hotel, or we could even say Hotel Atlantis. Tenemos que decir del instead of de. ¿Por qué? Porque sería dentro de el Hotel Atlantis, and we do not say de él, unless we are talking about El Salvador or the title itself. So remember, de plus el equals del. Por lo tanto, decimos que el restaurante Poseidon's Table está dentro del, en este caso, Hotel Atlantis. Está dentro del Hotel Atlantis. I hope this works out like this. Oh, Lord. Anyway, you got it, guys. Está dentro del Hotel Atlantis. Now, the good thing about this exercise is that if you've never been in the Bahamas, this is going to be a wonderful tour for you, because then you will get to know where each place is, at least the places that we are mentioning. La Pirámide Leap of Faith, for those persons who have this desire to come to the Bahamas to go to the water park. La Pirámide Leap of Faith está en el water park. Y la pirámide está fuera del Hotel Atlantis, because it's not inside the structure itself. Está fuera. And again, aquí vamos a decir del, igual que aquí, que dijimos del, porque estamos hablando de el hotel. We are speaking about el hotel. And whenever you have the preposition de followed by el, you make a contraction and you call it del. El Banco Scotiabank que está en University Drive, that's the one I'm talking about. El Banco Scotiabank está en qué posición. So when you go to the bank, the structure is facing the main entrance of UB, la entrada principal, the main entrance. Entonces, el banco Scotiabank está enfrente de la entrada principal de UB. El banco Scotiabank está enfrente de la entrada principal de UB. So, ahora vamos a hablar de la librería Chapter 1. We're going to talk about Chapter 1 bookstore. We have already established that Chapter 1 bookstore is in front of UB main campus. And just before, before you get to Michael Eldon building. Let's see how we can say that in español. La librería Chapter 1 está. Vamos a ver. Está. Like in front of, meaning facing UB main campus. Y, como dijimos, as we said, just before you get to Michael Eldon building. Okay, let's call it block for the purpose of the class. Okay, ahora, ¿cómo vamos a decir? La librería Chapter 1 está frente a. I missed something here, which is frente a UB main campus. Y delante de. Michael Eldon block. Please do remember that I missed something here, which is supposed to be UB main campus. UB main campus. That's what we mean. When we say UB, we mean the whole main campus. Entonces, la librería Chapter 1 está frente a UB y delante de Michael Eldon block o Michael Eldon building para el propósito de la clase. Michael Eldon block. Entonces, frente a is when something is literally facing you. Y enfrente de is when something is across. In front of you, across. Delante de means that it's in front of you, but it does not have to be facing you. Es como en la cola, like in the line. You go to the bank and you have somebody enfrente de ti. You have somebody in front of you because the person is right in the front of you. So, enfrente. Okay? So, for the purpose of la cola, la persona está enfrente de mí. But if the person turns around and faces me, then la persona está frente a mí. But also, in that line, la persona está delante de mí. The person is just, that delante is when the person is in front of you, but it's before. This place está frente al otro lugar, so it's in front of, like facing. Like that place is facing me, I'm facing that place or person. Enfrente de is right in front of, literally in front, like in the front, basically on my face, right there. So, enfrente is facing you. In some cases can be also used for across. Frente a, in terms of location, if you look at it It may also be used as across. The difference is enfrente de. If you want to know which one to use, think of the line. The person right in front of you está enfrente de ti. Now, that person enfrente de ti, if they are facing you, they are frente, that like the frente. If they are not facing you, están delante. Delante, before. Enfrente, in front of me, facing me. Frente a, the same thing that is in front of me, but it could also be across. But remember, in some cases, if something is facing you at a distance, it's okay to use enfrente de. In the examples that would be matching the examples I just gave you. Now, listen, I think where you are confused is enfrente de y frente a. Notice that is enfrente de y frente a. In front of or opposite. El ejemplo de Wiley Plus es el banco está frente al kiosco. So basically, if you don't want to be lost, enfrente de or frente a, it's just like in front of me or facing me. Now, in front of me, not facing me, es delante de mí. ¿Comprende?
So we can use either one and it'll be fine.
So, for the purpose of the question, let's make it even more clear. You have a dog, your dog goes running away from you. You start chasing your dog. El perro está delante de ti, is in front of you. So it goes running in front of you. El perro corre delante de ti, and I'm saying de ti, meaning of you. Now, you finally catch up with your dog, and you hold your dog in your hands, and as you lift your dog in front of your face and start telling, stop running, don't do that again, it's dangerous, da da da. Then you say, el perro está enfrente de mí, because it's right in front of you, right on your face, literally. Now, you put your dog down, your dog starts to walk away, and you call your dog. You say, hey, Pookie. I just made up that name. So the dog, while still being close to you, steps from you, turns around and faces you. El perro está frente a ti. In other words, if you're going to use de, you have to use enfrente de. And if you're going to use a, you have to use frente a. You know, like in English, like certain prepositions follow certain words. That is the expression enfrente de or frente a. And do remember, enfrente de, when it comes to objects that or persons, it's basically on your face. It's so close to you. Enfrente a is in front of you, but it doesn't have to be like a face-to-face kind of experience in terms of a human being in front of you. However, remember, when it comes to buildings, we cannot be so exact. El edificio, the building, está enfrente de, and then the place. O frente a, then the place or the person also, in both cases. McDonald's está frente a la plaza del Hotel Hilton. ¿Ok? Ahora, vamos a usar al lado de. La embajada de Estados Unidos, that would be the U.S. Embassy, está al lado de McDonald's. La embajada de Estados Unidos en Nassau está al lado de McDonald's. Okay. El Hotel Meliá está al lado del Hotel Bahamas. It's right next to it. Ahora vamos a hablar de sobre en. En general, en inglés a veces decimos in, on, at. Para estas tres decimos en español. Pero it depends how deep in or is the on over or is the at and all of that. So depending on the specification of that in, on, and at, then we may be able to use other prepositions like sobre. Like planes, los aviones vuelan sobre. So planes fly over. So that sobre is that sobre that means over. Right? However, if I have a book on the table, entonces el libro está sobre la mesa. El libro está en o sobre la mesa. El libro está en o sobre la mesa. Cualquiera de los dos. Any of them can work. Otro ejemplo. Mi mamá está en la casa. So that's when my mom is at home. O en la casa o está o en el trabajo, at work. Notice that we use the article el. Ahora, ¿recuerdan el ejemplo de Poseidon's Table? Está dentro del Hotel Atlantis. Watch this. El restaurante. Poseidon. Está en el Hotel Atlantis. Because it's in. I'm so sorry for this misspelling here. It's a new hotel, must be. Okay. Because it's in, it's inside. So está adentro del Hotel Atlantis, but it's también está en el Hotel Atlantis because it's in. Vamos a usar entre. Entre es fácil. Por ejemplo, think of you on University Drive. Puedes decir que McDonald's, I'm talking about the McDonald's that it's right across from the university. McDonald's está entre Chapter 1 y Wendy's. So I was telling you that English-speaking persons always struggle with the difference between por and para. ¿Por qué? Porque in English we say for most of the time. But see, miren por. You notice the para is not here. Por está aquí. Because por is used specifically for this. It's more about location as opposed to purpose. Para is more for purpose. Deadlines and all of that. Pero por, it indicates like by way of, through, alongside, or around. Por ejemplo, let's say I want to go to the airport. Yo quiero ir al aeropuerto. Entonces yo voy por JFK, and everybody who knows Nassau and understands the streets in Nassau, they will know that JFK is a highway. it's a long street, and at some point it's like a highway, right? Entonces yo voy por JFK para el aeropuerto. O yo voy para el aeropuerto por JFK. So I am going through or by way of that street to get to my destination. Another example, otro ejemplo. Where you going to? ¿Para dónde vas? Oh, voy para la universidad. Ok. Yo necesito ir a Fish Fry. Ok. Yo voy por West Bay Street. Yo voy por la calle West Bay Street. Hasta donde. Let's see how far this person goes. Hasta la calle, hasta Nassau Street. And of course, that person can catch a ride because that is basically where that person is going. It's just a matter of finding another ride to make it from Nassau Street to University Drive. Antes de, por ejemplo, we can say, podemos decir que Chapter 1 está antes de Michael Eldon Building. Por lo tanto, therefore, Michael Eldon está después de Chapter 1, bookstore. Nosotros tenemos clases por Zoom en vez de tener clases en el salón de clases o en UB Campus. Y tenemos clases para aprender, in order to learn, para aprender español, in order to do something, para aprender español. Another example. Al aprender español, podemos obtener 3 créditos. O al tomar la clase, de Español 104, obtenemos 3 créditos. Al tomar la clase de Español 104, obtenemos 3 créditos. Al tomar la clase de Español 104, obtenemos 3 créditos. Miren esto es muy importante, porque en español usamos el infinitivo, no utilizamos el participio, el gerundio de gerund. Antes de más infinitivo. Después de más infinitivo. Infinitive. In English, you could say after going here, after going there. In Spanish, that will make absolutely no sense. That would sound to a Spanish-speaking person like before I am going to, which makes no sense. So, preposición más infinitivo. Preposición más infinitivo. Remember, infinitives will follow your prepositions instead of the gerund, or in other cases, you call it participle as well. Ahora vamos a repasar los pronombres preposicionales. Why do we call them preposicionales? Because these are the pronouns that you use following a preposition. It could also be de mí, para mí, por mí. So you use the preposition and you use the pronoun. This is how you use it. So if I am receiving the action, so in other words, the subject is yo, myself, I say para mí. Now, if you are receiving the action, I say para ti. Notice that para mí tiene acento. Without an accent would mean mine and not me. Para usted, the rest are pretty straightforward. So, las preposiciones, me gusta a mí, I like it. Están hablando de mí, they're talking about me. Las flores son para ti. Voy en el auto por ti. I'm going for you, I'm going to pick you up. Voy por ti. No quiero ir sin ti. I don't want to go without you. No quiero ir sin ti. That would be this one. Okay. Okay, en este ejemplo, casi siempre voy a un restaurante, por ejemplo, para comer. O casi siempre voy a casa de mi mamá para comer. Infinitivo. Después de para, after para. Necesito bailar para sentirme bien, to feel good. Necesito dormir para sentirme bien. I need to sleep to feel good. Otro ejemplo. No me gusta salir sin. Now, what is it that you don't like to go out without? If it's a noun, las chicas, maybe sin maquillaje. So I don't like to go out without makeup. A lot of boys like to say, guys say, no me gusta salir sin dinero. Even girls too. People don't like to go out without money. Now, let's use a verb, un infinitivo. No me gusta salir sin orar, so I don't like to go out without praying. No me gusta salir sin manejar. I don't like to go out without driving. In other words, I don't like to walk, prefer to drive. Número 4. Me gusta estudiar, por ejemplo, antes de tomar un examen o hacer un examen, o me gusta estudiar antes de los exámenes. Okay, so this example was provided by someone in the class. I call it Vontanet. So, and this is perfect because it helps us to review vocabulary from chapter 6. Me gusta cepillarme los dientes antes de acostarme. Why this example is so wonderful and so great, and thank you, Vontanet, porque nos permite practicar el infinitivo con verbos reflexivos, con el pronombre reflexivo attached, right there. So, me gusta cepillar, I like to brush my teeth. Me gusta cepillarme los dientes antes de acostarme. And you already use the infinitive, which is fine, and it's wonderful because this is part of what we have to review also for the final exam. Okay, en el número 5, a veces yo, my question was, do you use the infinitive or do you conjugate the verb? And I had this wonderful contribution from Khalil, thank you very much. And as he said, yes, in fact, we have to conjugate the verb. How do you know you have to conjugate the verb? Yo is your hint. Because you have a pronoun, you definitely have to conjugate the verb. Therefore, we have a veces yo descanso en vez de estudiar. So sometimes I take a break, I rest instead of studying. Vamos a ver el número 6. Okay, en el número 6 tenemos nunca, nunca. This is the thing that you never, never do. Now, this could have been used as an advice if we were dealing with other tenses, but because we are using hábitos y preferencias, is basically what I would never, never do. So these were the verbs provided by Cedres. Thank you. Nunca, nunca nado. So she never, never swims after eating. So what she's saying, I never, never swim after I eat, after eating, after I eat. And that way the infinitive will make more sense. So, nunca, nunca nado después de comer. Now, for those persons who don't like to go to bed right after eating, then they will say, yo nunca, nunca duermo después de comer. O nunca, nunca me acuesto, con un reflexivo, yo nunca, nunca me acuesto después de comer. Notice that the reflexive in this case is detached because we have to detach the pronoun when we conjugate the verb and we put the verb in front of the pronoun, rather, the pronoun in front of the verb, the conjugated verb that is. Repito, the reflexive pronoun is detached because we have to place it right in front of the conjugated verb.